Nike shirt for Joe that actually has the logo and his name underneath it. So I'm going to give it to him when I see him on Sunday.
That's funny.
He'll love it. That'll stroke that ego as big as you can get.
Nice. That's great.
Oh, anyways. Hey, thanks for the 6 weeks. That was a lot of fun. I'm glad I finally got involved to do one of those. That's really a fun thing to do. Actually, I was talking to Bill Krolowitz the other day, and I told him, you get your ass in there. If you're not going to join the World Series again till your knees up, don't sit there and just feel sorry for yourself. Keep your comedy brain going.
Yeah, he almost signed up when he was working out a new 5 minutes about his mom and some of the stuff about the family stuff growing up that he doesn't really do in his comedy right now.
Right.
And then I don't know what happened. He ended up last minute not jumping on, but yeah, he's such a great dude too. I like that guy.
Well, you know, he had surgery. He had a whole knee replacement.
Oh, wow.
So he's been laid up for, a pretty long time because I guess it didn't go as well as they wanted. So he's been kind of not mobile at all. So I'm like, I said, what are you doing? You should do it just to keep your brain going because he ain't performing because he can't get out of the house.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do the next one starting in April after my vacation. And there's already someone from the festival signed up who didn't get into the satellite. But I think she registered to the festival because she heard about it from Emil Amok.
Okay.
And then Emil, I think, referred her because her submission video was from the same club that he plays at quite a bit, the Dead Puppy. No, is that it? Yeah, Deaf Puppy.
Deaf Puppy.
Yeah. So that was that. I had a chance to listen to the audio file.
Oh, from the Ice House? Yep. It was a good set. It went well, actually. I was pleased with the set.
Yeah, I went through and wrote a couple pages of notes that we could go over, or if you just want to chat about stuff.
Well, I mean, that was going to be my tape to submit to the last class, but Ice House has, I guess, Paul, I got booked in there through Paul Blomeyer, and I got there, had my camera ready. He said, oh no, you can't tape it. They tape it, and then I'll get it to you. Didn't get to me soon enough. I had to do some new stuff in there because a lot of the people that came to see me have seen me multiple times. And they even ask, is there any new stuff? Because we're not coming to see the same shit. And that's well, we just wrote the political stuff, which, you can't use across the country. But I thought the Donald Trump stuff was good. I thought that it went well. It was brand new. We just wrote it literally a week ago. So I was able to take it out for a spin. We'll tweak it a little, but it got a lot of good laughs.
And for me, I mean, that it was a fun set, and then there's also sort of the this notion that people think that like comedy is spontaneous. Everyone comes up with like their set on the spot, and it's not until you sort of like go back and see someone who's doing it multiple times, you're like, okay, this is a craft where they're like honing this. I remember when I first started working at the Comedy Mix, and I'm a big comedy fan, and I would go see, someone I liked maybe a couple times in the same week that they're in town if I really liked them. But man, that first or second weekend of seeing the feature and the headliner doing 6 shows, oof, and that almost immediately got my brain churning about comedy feedback.
Yeah.
Literally my first week in the working the management side of the industry, because there's a fantastic local comedian named Erica Sigurdsson, who I referenced, I think, during week 4, week 5, who was there the first week I worked there. And I was just like, man, I'm already fatigued from listening to this person go through sometimes as you know now, being back in comedy again for 3 years, you can tell when someone's going through the motions.
Yeah.
And it shows itself a lot more when you're working at a club and you see every single performance. And so I can empathize a little bit with your friends going like, I'd love to see something new.
Oh yeah. And I have a great following, which actually helps me because I work with Pam, who's coming back, thankfully, McGeary, and she's brought me in a couple of times because she knows any club I go to in Southern California, there's a minimum 20, 25 people following.
Nice. Yeah, that's
between
great.
My husband's workers, my coworkers, and my friends, they follow. So it's like everybody knows you book Scott, you got 25 in the seat no matter what. And if no one else showed up, you've got a nice following. But they're now to the point of we've seen him now 6 or 7 times. Does he have anything new? And the good thing is I did. because all of the grumpy stuff is brand new. That I never did that. Never did it at all.
Yep.
We're working on a whole thing on Disney's all gay because we're working like Toy Story is gay also because think about it. Buzz Lightyear is just a porn name and Woody is what you get from watching Buzz Lightyear, you know, and Chip and Dale are just the two squirrels playing with their nuts all day. So, I mean, there's a whole thing about Disney being gay. So at a Halloween show I dressed up as Grumpy. So I actually did 7 minutes to start. I got 15 minutes to be actually Grumpy. So I was actually doing the jokes as Grumpy, as gay. And it resonated. And, you know, we taped it and I said, we're just going to put it back into the act. And that's when we took Santa out. But then through the World Series of Comedy, I'm getting emails like from Trevor Scott, you know, hey, Santa, when you going to this meeting? I'm like, fuck, now I can't take Santa out. And then your guest guy said, the minute I saw you, why are you not talking about Santa? But I'm like, I just worked up the whole Grumpy bit. Ah,
right. Yeah.
And now I'll do both. Cause I actually we really took the Grumpy thing and went like, if I got a longer set, I could do 5 minutes on Grumpy on how the whole group is gay. And the whole thing is just a big, you know, it's a big fake. But I think now I'm trying to freshen up the act that I did last year. I know my last show at the World Series of Comedy at the main event was the best I'd ever done there. Was probably the best show I'd ever done because you could see my comedy legs are underneath me, the energy. Because I will tell you, I'll be honest with you, the first year I look at some of those videos and I get sick because I had no energy. You can see I got pissed on stage. My emotion was on my sleeve. So I learned that's okay. That's the thing. Last year I had highs and lows because there was some events that were just god awful. Nobody showed up. I mean, and it's like, you know, you're traveling across the country and, you know, I heard all these great things about crackpots. We get to Massillon last year and there's nobody in the audience. Like there's 3 people. And of course, why? Because it was opening day for the Reds, the final 16. And I'm like, and I even got yelled at by Joe. He says, you were an angry comic. I could see it. You were just pissed. The only time you were funny is when that lady's phone went off because you were ready to kill her, but you browbeated to death for a minute and a half. And that was fun. But just, you know, so I learned. And now, like I said, as I got to the last show last year and I watched that's the tape, of course, I submitted, I was like spot on. That was as good as I had ever performed. If I probably wasn't up against Ben Frank, I probably would have had a chance of going across. But
it's a really funny process because as you're going through it as a comedian, you're not aware of the milestones that you're crossing. You're not aware of like, okay, it's taken X number of shows or whatever for me to get as you said, get my feet underneath me or whatever it may be. But from an outside observer, you can see like, okay, this person is like a third of the way down the track or 2/3 of the way down the track. Or, you know, in 6 months, they're going to go back and look and they're going to say, oh, 6 months ago, I thought I had 25 minutes and now I realize I have 3, you know? And so it perpetuates itself and it's almost, you can almost set a clock to it. Like there's this 9-month, 15-month, 4-year kind of thing. And you're now in that delicate balance of your return to comedy of being post 18 months, which is like the self-critical moment where you're like, okay, what am I really doing here? And what has been resonating with audiences? Like, am I silly? Am I dirty? Like what has worked? I know what I want it to be when I came back to it, but sometimes audiences don't directly connect with what you want to be and you organically, naturally sort of evolve to a different thing. And so that's that kind of like 18 month to 4.5 year period. That's like the sanding the edges period, which is like you're right in the heart of, which is when you can be a lot more objective about your own progression.
Right. I mean, I got scolded last year because the first half of the World Series of Comedy, I didn't even mention I was gay once. And then Joe said, why? I'm like, oh, I'm in Indiana. What do you want me to say? I said, you want me to get beaten in the street? I'm not, you know, and he says, no, fuck him. He says, you've seen me in shows that you think I'm going to get killed, going to be lynched when I'm making fun of a black guy in the middle of a, you know, he said, you got to be who you are. And that's when I started to say, all right, I'm not going to filter my show based on the city. He's like, you are who you are. Don't change who you are because those are cities you're not going to go to. Like, I know I'm never going to play, you know, the church of so-and-so. I'm not that kind of comic. I could do 10, 15 minutes of clean. I have plenty of clean, but somewhere in there, if someone books me, it's going to resonate to a couple of fuck yous and a couple of things that aren't going to be there.
I'm not. Western Baptist Church is knocking down the door to book you.
Yeah, or anything, any MAGA group isn't going to book
Westboro,
me.
I guess. Westboro.
Yeah, but I mean, I get that. I mean, trust me, it's not for lack of material because we have so much. It's just trying to piece the best of the best. I mean, there are things the World Series of Comedy have never even seen me do that I've done at clubs because I never get past the 7, so I don't get to the 10. You know, we have a whole bit on like fortune cookies that what if they were real, you know, when you opened it up, you know, and we have this great bit that I've done at clubs, you know, and like I've never hosted for World Series of Comedy. I told you about the thing I do, which I'm going to talk to Joe about. Like, okay, so nobody can talk, but this is your chance. So we're going to play Mad Libs to get it out of your system, you know, but now it's to find the perfect 7 to get to the next level. Because
for me, if we're sort of like taking this part of the conversation, extending it to this performance that you just had, part of the audience calibrating you as a comedian is some of their feedback. And there were 2 times where you got kind of like either a groan or a kind of like, not really, not the laugh point that you want, but more like a reaction. And so those 2 spots I think are like writing exercises in disguise. That's sort of my catch-all phrase for like, okay, the joke works, the intent of the joke works, but maybe we just need to tighten something up here. So there's those 2 things that I can point out in a second. But one thing that I really took away from the beginning of the set, and you reference it later, but you actually didn't say it early, is in your mom's disappointment associated with you coming out.
Yep.
I don't think you say Jewish. You didn't say Jewish mother, I don't think.
What, so you mean when I came out to my Jewish mother?
I don't know if you said.
I don't ever say I come out to my Jewish mother because I announce at the beginning I have a Jewish mother. So I don't bring it back. I could, because when I do my opening statement, I always say I'm old, I'm 400 pounds, I have a Jewish mother, and the next 3 or 4 depends on where I'm going.
Yeah, and so I think part of that defining statement that has been working really well for you is when you reset it during the exposition of the new joke. And so I think the payoff to her being disappointed has this kind of like subtle financial overtures to it, which ties into the stereotype of Jewishness. So I think it might be prudent to
drop in there again,
reset it there again. When I came out to my Jewish mother, because then her complaining about the monetary stuff, as opposed to like being an emotional support person for you. It really underscored of the stereotypes that community is sort of known for. In terms of the 2 parts where you kind of got minor, less than a punchline laugh, you got kind of like a groan or oh no, is the no pulse, no problem with the Prince Andrew. There's still something a little bit off of that. It's close, but it's not quite there. And then there was also, where was it? It was something a little bit later on around in the Chunkendale's joke. So I don't know if it was like the having to reset the room because they were distracted from the prop, like yelling out, put it on, put it on, put it on. I know you're surrounded by a group of friends, but it might have been one of those things too, where it's like, okay, there just needs to be a little bit more strength to the joke here.
I think the groan though was at the Trump. I think I got more of the groans at the Trump, if I remember correctly, because it was when I said it's a melanoma in Melania, which I love that joke.
Yeah, that's a good joke. I thought that was really funny. And I know that Brian wasn't the hugest fan of the singing of the going to Lowe's, but I like that a lot because I think it also showcases a hidden skill and it's also a fun act out and it shows that you're high energy right off the top.
So actually, I've ramped it up even more now because I am getting tremendous return on, because I'm actually really dancing now and shaking my legs, and it's getting a lot of great audience. Even my husband said, the more you dance, the funnier people more are laughing because it's funny.
For sure.
That's why we wrote the joke with the lesbian, because it came back to it. Hi ho, we're off the flows we go.
For that joke, just for continuity's sake, I would have them go to Lowe's again.
Lowe's again?
Yeah. Or change the first one to Home Depot. Just make them the same.
Well, we did Home Depot, but we actually used to do it, but it actually flows better. Hi ho, it's off the Lowe's we go versus hi ho, it's off the Home Depot we go. It actually follows in the cadence of the song.
Right. So then in the second instance, when you bring that situation back, I would use the same one because idiots like me in the crowd will be like, well, I thought lesbians went to Lowe's, not to Home Depot. You know,
Gotcha.
So
So do you think I should take out the Prince Andrew one?
I think it just needs a stronger thing, like, because the no pulse, no problem.
Right. It's rape. It's basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's non-consensual, but I mean, also Snow White is non-consensual if you think about it.
Right. Well, that's why I said because she was
Almost all those
unconscious.
fairy tales. But it's the no pulse, because no pulse infers necrophilia, not being passed out.
So just change no permission, no problem.
Yeah, no consent, no problem. Consent might be a better word there, because that's also a flashpoint word, right? And so it's in the ethos. And so if you get to say it, like, it might be one of those pop culture reference phrase earworm kind of things. Gotcha. But yeah, it's the only issue I think I have, issue is too strong a word. I think the stumbling point for that joke is the word pulse.
Okay.
I think the cadence of it, the no problem works. Yep. I think him as a reference for someone who's doing, like, mirroring what's gone on in the fairy tale works. And also he's a prince, so he also gets to play the character he's supposed to play, the character.
Right.
So, but yeah, just the word pulse, I think, is the word that triggers the groans from the people who choose to groan. You're still getting laughter there, but there are still a few people in the audience.
Yeah, I can pull that, because the other stuff, because the Trump stuff, I'm not planning on doing in Vegas, because you don't know what you're going to get at the Strat, because most of those people are not locals. So you're probably going to get quite a few MAGA people, because I know this isn't it's, and I'm not going to do the Australian trip, even though I think we've got it now where it might work. I finally get to tell the twat story. That was just because I had extra time. I had 4 extra minutes. And I did not want to do the same shit that I've done over and over, because I know it.
I really like the millennia melanoma thing, though. Like, just even getting a chance to say that is interesting. Like, I thought you were going to go, as you introduced the premise during the performance, I thought you were going to go down the road of like a Barbenheimer thing, like choose another movie that was in. But I like the idea of that. And maybe you can, if you don't want it to sound political and you just want to be subtle with the politics of it. I still think the back half of it is funny, where you describe it as like a cancer to society or whatever the phrasing was. But like, maybe have your dyslexic friend bought the tickets, you know? So the movie started like, this isn't about millennia.
Well, that's why we did we realized we're in a movie called Melanoma, but you can see how we made the mistake. Melania melanoma.
Yeah. But I would give that explanation of the, like, it only take 2 or 3 extra words to say the mistake from my dyslexic friend or whatever it is, you know? Because
maybe we'll throw it in there.
And then for me, the only challenge I have a little bit with the twat joke is the use of the phrase fun facts. So fun facts are kind of becoming a premise excluded entry into jokes. I don't know if I'm articulating myself very well.
I know what you're saying. Yep.
But like in the open mic scene, a lot of people are like avoiding having to introduce a premise by just going, hey, fun fact, and then just be able to talk about a non sequitur. But to me, it's an interesting story that you love to travel and learn about other cultures, and the thing that you learned about the culture.
We can look that up. We actually changed the jokes from that night because now here's a funny story. You'll appreciate this. So the green room was having problems, so you couldn't watch the other comics.
Okay.
I don't like to watch a lot of the comics before I'm ready to go on, because I am a pacer. I like to get ready and get in the zone. I didn't realize they started talking about koalas already. Someone had done a couple jokes on it, because it's like everybody didn't talk about that. So we're going to change that joke to that koalas have chlamydia, but not the kind of chlamydia you can catch. And then I would say to the driver, how do you know that? He says, well, what do you think I do on Friday? Because it's an alternative work week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So what do you think I do on Fridays?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's funny. For me, I think all you need to do is eliminate, going back to the well and saying fun fact. Like, I would just eliminate those 2 words. I think
we can do that. Just say, hey, just cultural information.
Yeah. yeah, I love to travel and learn about other cultures. You know,
Yeah. And like I
um,
said, I'm not planning on doing this in unless I make it through. I would add it in because this is new stuff I've not done before to them, and I'm not going to roll the dice that far. But I am putting on the shelf the underwear temporarily because I have
yeah.
heard Joe tell me I'm tired of seeing your fucking skivvies on stage.
That's funny.
I mean, it's a great joke. It works. I've tried it with the underwear, without the underwear. It still gets bigger laughs when I whip it out,
Right.
but I thought the Chunkendales now will work even funnier because I think the one my friend made was just fucking hysterical.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
She made 5 of them for me. She said, so if they fall apart because it's skimpy, because it's not really to be worn, but it is I said I can't do the thing, and I love being able to hold up the face, and it's resonant to my face to say
Right.
that's how I got my stage name, Santa's Little Helper. We have
Um,
4 actually different lines. It could either be Santa's Little Helper, a stocking stuffer, or a Secret Santa.
yeah, I like Secret Santa because
Oh, okay.
Santa's Little Helper would actually be an elf or a
Right.
dog, right? Like from The Simpsons, the dog from The Simpsons.
Yeah.
But just to wrap up my final thoughts on the Australia riff,
Yep.
my favorite phrase in there, you know, especially from seeing through the 6 weeks of the class, because you and I met at a time where I wasn't hanging out at World Series events
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
So if I was post show, you would see me talk about this a lot more, but you only
Right.
really get to see me in the class setting talking about elements that draw me towards jokes.
Yeah.
And for me, it's interesting and unique phrasing is one of my favorite things in comedy. And the dating pool in the koala community, that sentence, oh my God, that's so great because you're adding, like, you're anthropomorphizing their
Right.
behavior, right? And also it relates to a lot of very shitty common premise jokes that other comedians might have about
Right.
dating and dating apps,
Right.
but you're not taking that angle on it.
Right.
Like, but talking about like the dating pool in the koala community, that's just so funny to me. And then it makes me think of like, how do they get set up on dates?
Right.
You know, like how can you, they all look alike.
Right.
Like, do they just have a common avatar on their dating app or whatever it is, you know? So do they all have the same name? Like, what would a koala's name be?
Right.
Like all like, but just immediately like shockwaves when I heard that phrase, it made my brain bounce around and go like, oh my God, this is such interesting area to really reap a lot of potential laughter from a overtread style of premise, but do it in such a fresh and interesting way. And then you can pull on stereotypes or you know, like use analogies to humans and stuff. But I just dating pool in the koala community, it literally made me laugh out loud. It was so funny. Good reset about your weight at the 6-minute mark. I still think you need one more button on the getting on the elevator thing.
Like, we tried. I don't know if you saw the new. Well, that wasn't in the show. We did Monday with the added in the line with actually one of my friends who is a comic sent me the tagline of like to say they look at me then look at the sign as if it says 10 people or Scott.
Yeah, I like that.
So that's what we did. So because I used to do this long joke and Joe wanted me to sexualize it. And I actually, as crude as I can be, I'm not that crude. It's like you have to, because he said, and then they get off and go like this. I'm like, that's just even cruder for me.
Right.
Because it doesn't come to the joke. I think it goes, and I played with this joke. It used to be longer. And I think the best tag now is the minute I got in an elevator, you looked at me, then you looked at the sign as if it said max capacity, 10 people or Scott.
Yeah, that's a good quick hit for that.
And I think that's the best way to end it. And then I can get right to the airline joke because that's a great joke. I will never take that. Really that's joke. My favorite joke.
And if you analyze the 10 people or Scott, the way you set that up for the audience to listen to it, you may not like consciously have chosen it this way, or your friend suggestion may not have consciously been this way, but it's presented as a hypothetical because
Right.
they look at me as if.
I'm as big as 10 people.
But so then anything that they think is up for grabs because it's your interpretation of the shock look on their face.
Yeah.
And then you get to say whatever fantastical thing you want to say in that moment.
Right.
You know? And so, yeah, I just think that's a very showcase worthy version of that joke to button it really well.
And the guy who gave it to me is Howard Berger, who's a good friend.
I know Howard Berger. Yeah.
Yeah. Who wrote for Rodney for 15 years.
He did. I think I might be speaking out of turn, but I'm pretty sure that in 2013 or 14, he came up and he was on a gala show that we hosted at the Comedy Mix here in Vancouver for the Just for Laughs Vancouver Festival.
Could have been.
Because one year it was a focus on New York comedians, and another year was a focus on LA comedians. And so Kurt Braunauer, Kirsten Shaw.
I'll have to ask him because he's good friends of mine. And actually, he and I, his was actually fun about Howard. I love him to death. He's performed with me. I brought him to my shows. He prefers now to write than be in front of the stage. So
it's like a really good band. Like when they get to their 7th or 8th album, it's always just acoustic and they don't tour it, you know?
So he has offered to sit down with me and to take the Vegas joke that I have told 5,000 times, and my husband and I, we're immune to the funny part to it. And he thinks he agrees with everybody else. He thinks now the last part of it is where all the laughs are. Because I don't know if I told you that, my dad then took me to a brothel.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You told me that part. Yeah.
And the woman had the lisp. So he said, that is so much fun because you can just say, so sweetie, what do you want to do? And he says, and what did Howard say? The tag would be, we can do anything that doesn't start with an S. Like talk, like massage, but stop saying suck or 69.
Yeah. And also like, you should ask her if she accepts chips as payment.
Well, he came up with the base button. He said, of course I was going to be gay because my first sexual experience sounded like Yosemite Sam. Suffering succotash. I want to suck in 69 with you.
That's funny.
So that's how we're actually going to get the joke into my act, because it's not ready yet, but he said, let's have dinner in a couple of weeks. I know I have some ideas where I think you can plug in jokes to that line. I said, but I can't make.
That's great to have someone workshop a story with you to like observe it from just purely the setup punch point of view.
Yeah, he was at the show. He was at the Pasadena show, and that's why. And we talked. He comes everywhere, and anytime I book a show myself, because once a year I do the El Portal. I book out. We buy out the theater, and we produce the show ourselves. He's performed there with me twice, and he's great. I don't know why he lacks confidence. He was at the. He just likes to write. He prefers to be behind the scenes versus in front. But yeah, he's the one who gave me the button of the 10 people. Scott, he called me up after the show. He said, I got it for you. It just came to me. Try it out.
That's great. Yeah. So for me, I love that kind of stuff because a phrase you've probably heard me use in the past is like friends and family story.
Yep.
Like quite often comedians get so insular to their own world that they don't realize that the audience doesn't have the information that makes this funny.
Yep.
It's sort of how almost every barbecue story that doesn't get a laugh, like amongst civilians, is like, oh, you had to be there. Like that's a laugh. It's like, that's not a punchline. You had to be there. That's not a punchline. And so to me, that's sort of like the crux of how do you take the friends and family story and what's the writing journey to turn it into a stand-up bit. One other minor logical flaw for me is in the dog poop joke. I feel like they shouldn't immediately be shitting out corn and immediately shitting out a peanut, like the next day or whatever, or something like that. Next thing you know, 6 hours later, it's there. Right. So I like only because, and I could even hear in the audio for this, like there's slight murmurs of people going, well, it wouldn't happen immediately. Like it just was enough you could just feel the temperature change a little bit of, okay, there's something that's not that's creating resistance in this joke. And I think it's the projection that they should believe that it's happening immediately.
Well, the issue I have right now is, so the way my set is structured for Tuesday is
Right.
I either end on the dog sweater
Right.
or I end on the 3 jokes that I tell about my mother dating, which is comes out with the scarf. It still fits.
Right.
Boyfriend putting on the condom. And Jeremy loves ending with he thinks that's one of my strongest jokes, that she only wants to have anonymous sex and she'll only date guys who have Alzheimer's. So the question is, do I end on my mother or do I end on the dog? Because it's all 7 minutes. It's because it's the same exact time.
Well, I have 2 trains of thought for that.
And I'm going to listen.
One, if Jeremy loves the Alzheimer's joke, I would end on that, because he's going to comprise probably a third or a quarter of the judging panel, you know?
Okay.
So sometimes there becomes a switch, especially if you're doing contests and festivals, there becomes a switch in terms of the focus of your attention of whom you're performing to, or to whom you perform, from the 100 people in the audience, which is kind of what organically you are trained as a comedian to entertain from the moment you step on stage for the first time, to when you get to the stage when you're about to level up, like you are, like trying to do stuff in more clubs around the country, more dedicated comedy venues, maybe book some gigs and travel a little bit for comedy.
That's the hope this year.
Then you are now performing to individuals, either in the room who are literally judging you at that moment, or evaluating you like a booker if you're doing a live showcase audition, or watching you later on tape if you use the recording as a video submission. So that's when you have to start rigging the game. And so one of the ways to rig is to have your ears prick up and listen to the people who are going to comprise the judging panel. So you're probably going to be dealing with Joe and Jeremy, and a third person, more likely than not, maybe guest comic who's in town or something like that, you know? So, but if 2/3 of the judging panel are Joe and Jeremy, then gear a little bit of your showcase set construction towards what you know they like.
I mean, I can't do the elevated joke the way Joe wants it. I've tried it.
No, but I think he would be impressed by the
new one
or Scott.
Yeah.
Like, especially if you like took a half beat there and like really showcased your anger at them thinking that, or like your, you know, like if you're like, whether you say what the fuck or like acted like you're about to say what the fuck, I think that would really help that hit that home. So that's kind of like my thoughts for this. Like if you're on the fence between 2 directions and you've heard feedback from a specific person who is going to be judging, then lean into that. You kind of have to game the system at some point.
I mean, it's one or the other. I mean, like I said, my issue is never material. I mean, we got 95 minutes. I've done a 95-minute set once.
That's amazing. I love it.
We actually have close to 2 hours worth of material. It's just now trying to plug into like I'm learning from you. Get that 7-minute showcase that someone says, okay, you're good. I want you to do feature. Then I get my 15 minutes and they go, oh, where did this other 7 minutes come from? I've never heard that. Then when they say, can you headline? It's like, how much time you want to give me? I mean, I can do it. I mean, I did a show at Giggles. Now, of course, I produced it myself, and it was a fundraiser for a place that my mother was in the hospital. They were doing so well. And we had 135 people in there. The entire proceeds went to this place she was at. And I did 95 minutes at Giggles in Massachusetts, straight on from beginning. And the guy was busting my balls because Lenny Clark's brother books the room. And he said, well, how many comics are you going to have with you? I said, nobody. It's an evening of comedy with Scott Lloyd. He said, well, no, you need someone to walk. I said, no, it's an evening of comedy with Scott Lloyd because it's a fundraiser. And he fought me, and I said, if you want to charge me, tell me. And I said, no, I know where it's going. He said, but I just don't know any comics that could actually stay on stage for 95 minutes and not collapse. I said, you've never met me. Don't worry about it. So we did 95. We actually have it on tape. And I mean, a lot of the people knew me or knew my mother, and my mother was there, and a lot of people. But it was like, we went on for 95 minutes, and actually my husband went like this to tell me you
Wrap
got
it
to
up.
stop because I could have gone another 30.
That's great. I will give you the flip side of my opinion on the Alzheimer's joke, though, too. And I don't want you to take offense at this, but
Yep.
the structure of that joke is very street joke structure wise.
Okay.
So for me, I'm not sure if it's the strongest one to include in a filmed showcase that you might send out, because sometimes especially if that's a closer, that would be the last resonating thing that some of the more material driven bookers would be like, okay, this is a little bit structured like a street joke. And so then that starts the doubts at the back of the brain of like, okay, can this person do 25 or 95 or whatever? But in terms of like a live performance and capturing the audience and also targeting the people that you know that are judging that like that joke, it's a perfectly fine joke. I just think it's a joke that a lot of people could tell and maybe have told in the past. I'm not saying you lifted it. I'm just saying like it draws a conclusion that people putting those two pieces together would draw.
Normally the end joke was when I gave my mother edibles, and
right.
And I don't know if you've heard me tell that, and she calls me up 2 hours later, high as
Yeah,
a kite.
The cookies
She
joke.
she ate 2, and then I usually end on, I said, what's the problem? She said, I woke up at the foot of the bed. What's the problem? In the neighbor's house,
Right.
And then I end it, and then usually the end I say is, and that's not the last time that's ever happened. Thanks. My name is Scott Lloyd. And that's how I normally end, but I don't have enough time at 7 because it's a little longer of a joke, and I'm trying to keep it tight. Because the one thing I learned from the first year to the second year is when I got that light, I got into an all-out panic. I mean, literally, shit, where am I going to end it? Now I have go-to jokes that I can end right on the spot. So that's not an issue anymore with me as it was in the past.
So because you expressed interest in it, I do want to expand a little bit on the conversation of gaming the system and ways that you can achieve that, especially given that you're going to have multiple opportunities to perform at various satellites, which equates to multiple opportunities to get a film from somewhere that's going to be good quality with good audio. Well, very good audio.
Excellent. I used the main event from last year, which was my best show. I've actually put that out to some festivals that actually one of them included me. There's the place that Wendy Lewis, this gal I met, does a Humboldt comedy thing later in the year. And they actually just selected me. It's in between the World Series of Comedy from that video. So I'm like, that's cool. Cause it was a great video. I mean, MC Bob came up to me and says, who the fuck are you? I said, what do you mean? He said, no, where was this guy? I have never seen this guy ever before on this.
What a great backhanded compliment.
But it was the way he says, that was beyond wow. And that's what he just said to me. And even his son said, where has this been for the last 2 years? Holy shit. That was fantastic.
So a gaming trick that I learned from Paul Agata, an amazing touring comedian who actually plays LA Comedy Club quite a bit because he moved to Vegas about a year ago. He is one of the rotating permanent.
Oh, for the Big Apple.
Yeah.
I've seen him. When we saw the show last time, we saw him.
He's so funny.
Yeah, he's hysterical. Yeah.
So he contacted us when I was working at the Comedy Mix, and he said, I got hired to do New Year's Eve at Emerald Queen in Tacoma, which is a 3-hour drive from Vancouver. I have family in Vancouver. I know it's hard to book the days after New Year's Eve, especially the way it falls this year, because New Year's Eve was a Thursday.
Right.
So we would have been stuck booking a local for Friday and Saturday on January 1st and 2nd when people kind of don't want to go out anyways. So he's like, if I have my own travel and accommodations, could I headline those? Because I've never headlined your club before and stuff. I'm like, holy shit, this guy really understands the business of comedy. He's working really hard with me. Sent a video and I like 3 minutes in, I like, okay, this guy's great. Then I started Googling him and I saw an interview that he did when he was in Hawaii about comedy in Hawaii, and he ended up on a bunch of podcasts. And anyway, so he shows up and he closes with the joke that he used as his opener on the first show in the video he submitted to me. And so after the show, I go, that was really great, Paul, that you managed to like close with your opening joke, and then your closer from your video you told like really, really early. And he goes, well, I'd like to let you in on a little secret. When I film myself for a submission, I put my closer within the first 2 minutes of my set because I have a much higher probability, statistically speaking, of someone who chooses to opt in to optionally watch my material on a link or online in the first 2 minutes. By 3 minutes, people are turning off. By 4 minutes, people are turning off, whether they're busy or whether they've already thought that I'm funny enough or whatever. And I go, that's incredible. He goes, yeah. So I game the system. I put my closer first. And then when I show up, I kind of surprise people by burning my closer from my video early in the set. So basically reversing, like his second strongest joke, putting it at the end, his strongest joke, putting it at the beginning. So the reason I tell this story is it's a great way to hook someone in to watch you longer. And if someone watches you longer, the percentage chance of you getting invited for entry into a contest or festival or be invited to have more stage time or book somewhere goes up exponentially. So my suggestion to you would be maybe once or twice throughout the season this year, if you know you're going to be performing at 6 or 8 or all 12 or whatever it would be, 1 or 2 of those times purposefully game the system and start your set with what would be your normal closer.
So, I did that in the class because I used to end with the suck dick joke. Right. I moved it now up to the beginning. And that was actually by Ira. When I met Ira in Oakland, we were having lunch. And he said, I just think that needs to go up at the beginning because that is such one of your hook jokes for people because nobody expects it. To come out of this old guy, he says, suck dick, And I actually moved it now up to almost within the first minute because of Ira's suggestion. And I've been doing it the last 3 weeks because I used to that was the beginning of the end set that I used to do. So I took it out completely and now stick it in the first minute and a half.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, one of the things when I first was doing comedy feedback, I used to do the second instruction seminar at the main event. And one of the things that was a point that I would talk about. Pull one of your really strong closing jokes and put it early. Because if you think about a lot of people are like, I want to build up to a big crescendo, but no, if I get them up here right away and then keep it at that level, how impressive is that to someone who's watching you?
Because we used to end on suck dick and that was it. We added in later and then she didn't mind spending the money. That was never part of the joke. It ended on suck dick. And don't complain about the taste of my foot cooking. And then it ended. That was the end of the joke. We added in the now, but she didn't mind spending money on me doing this. And then we added in the, I was trained for dick. And like we said, after the class or the Catholic Church, which would be the new tag.
So for me, I in this particular performance, I would just pay attention to really enunciating the word dick. Because dick, when said quickly, the word dick when said quickly could sound a little bit like it. So it could sound like I was trained for it.
The way I'm supposed to do it is if I do it right and it's performed. I don't mind. It's when she goes, I didn't spend for you to suck dick, and that's the way I'm supposed to. Is a big pause. And
no, but I mean in the train for dick.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
In the train for dick line.
So obviously I was trained for dick. So I need to do like I did because I did it with my mother on suck dick. So basically I was trained for dick.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it.
Because then you also get the mirror language laugh, right? Just sort of like the mirror language of using lows at the beginning and lows again with the lesbian joke. So yeah, for me, it's just like sell that. Oh, Jesus Christ. Comedy is so weird that I'm legitimately saying this phrase to you. Sell the dick harder.
Well, you said something to me the other day. It resonated with me. And I'm like, I don't know if that was a good or bad thing. At the Let's class, you said, we know you're crude.
Yeah.
So I'm like, was that a compliment or like, you're not going to get booked anywhere because you're crude?
Oh, no. It was more like we have seen 5 weeks of you. So we as an audience, like the 5 of us in the class, we're prepared for the direction that the jokes go. But one of the things the audience doesn't know that. I mean, your friends do. Are we getting puppers coming to visit?
He popped in. Whenever he hears me yell, he's like, "What? What's the matter, Daddy?"
But
I have 3 of them.
So for me, that wasn't a derogatory thing at all. It was more just like me saying, in the class, we're prepared for when you get dirtier.
Yeah, yeah.
But the audience isn't yet, so that it's smart for you to start the way you do, where the first instances of you being dirty skew closer to being naughty.
Right.
So that when you do actually escalate to being dirty and crude and blue, not at the expense of potential bookings, it's expected by that point, because you kind of.
Tim Kirchhoff said, "You're not." What did he tell me? He says, "You're naughty." That's how he classifies me. He says, "You're not raunchy. You're naughty." He said,
Yeah.
"But I would never perform with them because they had the squeaky clean comics.
Right.
You'll never book me on a clean. I mean, you could if you gave me 10 minutes, because I can only go 10 minutes before the N4 coming out."
I think if you were to look back through the emails that I sent, and one of them at the very beginning of the class, like the welcome to the class one, maybe a day or two before the first class, that had the like class syllabus, or like
I printed it out. I have it here. I'm an old school guy. I like visuals, so I have the whole thing printed right here. The deck you sent to me was printed.
So on one of those, I think in the class outline, it's probably like week 4 or something like that. It's where there's a link to my showcase construction.
Yes.
So that particular one, somewhere around like the 48-minute mark, I opened up to Q&As, and a guy and his son, who used to own Gutties, which was a clean comedy club chain in the Midwest, happened to be in the room. And no one specifically asked about what the difference is between being dirty and being clean. But I thought, Q&A, I'm just going to ask a question, even though I was like the presenter. So I asked them, sort of present it from the point of view, is like a lot of comedians wonder what it means to be dirty and what would exclude you from working at what portends to be a clean club. And their answer was really, really interesting. They were like, you can be naughty, you can be dirty, but try and let the audience fill in like the really raunchy parts, like allude to things, use analogies, use euphemisms. But it's like, they basically said, if you use any of Carlin's 7 words, or they're like, you can sort of get away with swearing as long as it's not describing an act,
right?
It's not penetrative,
right?
And it doesn't involve fluids, like, so there is leeway. And so I think we talked specifically about that during week 5 of the class that Tim did. So that probably kind of resonated with him, of like being like naughty is good, and in terms of that scale. And so for me, if you're doing a film show, that's again another thing to game the system. You might want to do one of the satellite events where you're slightly cleaner, and maybe you're also looking to target a specific venue that might work. Appleton or something.
I'm looking at what I'm doing. The one last year that I would probably is, so I'm not performing in Indy this year. I'm actually hosting in Indy, but I am going to do Funny Farm. I'm not doing Atlanta. I am hosting at One Night Stands. That's where I would have. Well, I did well there last year. I'm not doing Myrtle Beach. I am going to do McCurdy's, and that's one that I may want to skew it down a little, because I probably should have cued more towards my older stuff. Like the new stuff with the knee and stuff will resonate, because I can see it. It was the wrong audience. I learned my lesson there, that I had, because Joe was like, how come you didn't crush it there? You have such great stuff on that, because I didn't tweak the set. So I think that's probably where I would bring it down a little bit. Instead of doing the Santa, I would come right out and do Grumpy there instead. But I wouldn't do the Prince Andrew joke there, because with them, that might be a little offensive. But the other stuff, they were like, not doing Tennessee because I'll be in New York. Tacoma, they love me up there. I could be as naughty as I want. Right, the one that surprised me last year was Little Rock. Okay. Because I was there for multiple days. So I did the show. I didn't move on. And I was there to do the recording of the record. And then Joe called me up on the in-between day and said, hey, so-and-so lost a comic. He's got a gig he books at the casino.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So I went to he said, "Would you be willing to do it? I'll give you $100." I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" So I went there. Cool little room. It's actually a cool lounge. It seats like 300 people. I got a drink and I said to the bartender, "How many people are you expecting tonight?" I said, "We get about 30 to 50." I said, "Oh, good, great crowd." Sold out, packed. There wasn't an empty seat in the house. Now, problem was didn't read the room. It was a school teacher conference. So I did my routine. It did fair. It didn't do well. And Drew Schaefer was there. He crushed it. He realigned to a whole set. I love Drew. At the end of the show, though, 4 guys come up to me and they say, "Hey, can we talk to you for a second?" And I'm thinking, great, I'm going to get gay bashed in Little Rock. This is amazing. So he said, "No, out here in the casino." And I'm thinking, well, at least if they hit me, it's going to be in public. The 4 guys said to me, "We wanted to thank you so much. We are 4 gay school teachers. And we were so uncomfortable all week because this is not a very gay-friendly conference. You come right out and announce you were gay and you knew it didn't hit, but you continued to be true to yourself and you made our week." And I said, "You know what? To me, that made the set worth it. Even though I didn't do well, it made the set." Then I came back and did the World Series of Comedy record, and I had friends in the audience too. And even Joe said, "That's the best I've seen you do. You were fun. You were in your skin. You were full of energy. You didn't care what the audience said. Who gives a shit?" And they laughed at everything you said. So that's when I learned, like, there's times to bring it back, which I didn't. There are times to, just like Joe said, be true to yourself. If you're not good, you're not going to get booked there anyways. You don't want to perform there because you can't be somebody you're not.
Right. That's absolutely true. Is the World Series going to Appleton this year?
No,
it's not.
It's Vegas, Sacramento, Indy, Youngstown, Ohio, Atlanta, Michigan, Myrtle Beach, Sarasota. Tennessee is new, but I'm in New York that week. Tacoma, Little Rock, and Oklahoma, which they didn't do last year.
Okay. Yeah, Oklahoma apparently has a really good scene.
Yeah, it's the same guy. I think he owns both clubs.
Yeah, it's Bark. He also has one in Louisville. He has 6, I think now, 6 or 8. Is it in Tulsa or is it in Oklahoma City?
I don't remember which one it's at. It's not him. It's the guy who's got he was weird. The guy who owns Little Rock. He's got these fake teeth in the middle, and as he's talking to you, he pops them out at you. And he's talking like this. It's the craziest thing. And he was telling us, "Well, you got me in a good night tonight because I didn't do any drugs."
Oh, so is it a loony bin?
Yeah, it's a loony bin.
Oh, I thought it was the Bricktown.
No, it's loony bin.
Okay.
So it's the guy who's
Little Rock ones
in Oklahoma. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'll do Little Rock again because I have friends there and I can stay with them and it makes it easy for me.
And the Tennessee one is the
brand new Bristol
Catch.
They didn't do it last year.
Is it the Comedy Catch or no?
Hold on, let me see. I had the website up a minute ago. I would have done it, but actually it's my birthday week, so we are going to New York. So we're going to New York for the week. It's the Blue Ridge Comedy in Bristol.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was not on the list last year, and I think Funny Farm took over for Crackpots because he isn't doing it this year.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, he works pretty closely with Dave. I mean, they're not business partners, but they're associates that understand if someone's coming up to that neck of the woods, they kind of like help each other out.
Yeah, I mean, I know to me, Myrtle Beach is not going to be a place I'll ever play because they like clean. Atlanta, not my cup of tea anyway. So I'm like, that's fine. Works out best. And I did one night stands last year. I had a fun, but I gave that up as a hosting. I said, I'll take that one as a host.
Myrtle Beach is like, it's set up really well for comedy as a comedy club. Like it would be very convenient to manage because they have it. Remember American Graffiti? And they like roll into the dining, the drive-through. Like imagine if the inside building from American Graffiti from the drive-through was like split in 2.
Oh.
And the entrance was in the middle. You go to the right and it's a bar. You go to the left, it's a comedy club. And so on the 2 show nights, you can just fill up the bar.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. And there's like walls and the kitchen between the bar and the comedy club. So it's so perfect. And it's like it must have been like an old burger joint or something because it is in its own parking lot, just literally on the highway. So
those are fun. I mean, that's what I loved about the Tacoma Club. It's in nowhere land, right
yeah,
across from this dive bar. That place, now this will be my third year. They never have, it's not packed every night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. People come there every single night.
that's great.
And it's in the middle of no man's land, not the big one in downtown, but it's
Right,
like
yeah.
out in the sticks. There's nothing around it. And
They've built up a good clientele that you can
Yep.
tell when a club is run really well. When I went to McCurdy's the first time, we got there at 3:30 in the afternoon on a Wednesday, and 5 minutes after sitting down, I turned to Joe and I go, "This is a really good club." He's like, "You haven't seen anything yet." I'm like, "Well, I've seen a lot. I've seen 7 or 8 staff members in here. I see 2 people over there making phone calls, giving away comp tickets
Yep.
for 6 weeks from now, which
Yep.
means tonight's going to be fucking busy." And then there was 215 people on a Wednesday night.
Same thing this year, and it blew me away. And then when I got to hear what they do, I mean, I'm like, how do you get the locals to come out? Because in the summer, there's no tourists. Birthday, anniversary, giveaways, they have it on their list. They
Yeah,
call
they
it,
train-
you know, your
and they
anniversary
train
is
them.
coming up. Yep. Yep.
And they've trained the audience to expect
Yep.
that, oh, you don't go to a comedy club once a year. You go like once or twice a month.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
they increase the frequency of it. Yeah, I mean, Les and why do I always blank on her name? Pam, I think. They literally started that as a touring comedy venue, as like a pop-up in a conference room of a hotel.
Yeah.
And they searched for almost 20 years to find a footprint club. And then when that corner in Sarasota got redeveloped, they went to the city and like, we want this for a comedy club. And it's like,
always
can this
packed.
be an
Yeah.
entertainment complex? And the city was like, yeah. And so they built from scratch. So it's laid out perfectly for comedy.
It's a great club. Great club.
Well,
Was
and
it-
then when I saw them seating guests on the Wednesday, I don't know if you've been in the room while they've sat
yes.
the guests. It's incredible. Like the sound guy,
Yeah.
the bus boy, the dishwasher, all trained on how to seat people.
Yep. It's amazing.
So
Yep.
good. So, but kind of
Yeah.
getting back to the original point is one of these, choose to run like maybe a cleaner set, just so
Okay.
you have one on tape. You know?
Yeah. And I have material. I mean, like I said, we got plenty of stuff. We could easily run more. I mean, because I had to restructure it last year because, like Joe said, no one's going to believe you're this old curmudgeon because you just have too much energy. So that's why we brought back the live streaming, and booty call through people thinking I'm old versus me saying I'm so old I don't get it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I have a section that I do a whole things with my mom that I can do much cleaner, you know, because I do the thing about I bought her a computer and,
Right.
you know, it used to be after the suck dick joke. I said, you know, I'm still mad at her. So I bought her a used computer, it has AOL on it. And I say, you know, I bought it for her so we can FaceTime, we can talk and we can communicate. And, you know, after a week, she called me up and she said she hates it because all day she went to the mailbox because it told her you've got mail, you know, and 13 fucking times she went to the mailbox. There was nothing there. And then she was like, well, where are my goddamn cookies? I've been accepting cookies all day. I want my cookies. So I did that in McCurdy's, and that's a much cleaner, you know, because it's about my mom. When you're talking about a 90-year-old woman, you can use a couple, but that resonates well. I will shape that show to more of my mother because they will get, there's no question, it's definitely an older crowd that comes to see you at McCurdy's.
And I love your like her Mary Poppins bag is really funny. I don't know if the fleshlight needs to be part of that joke, but I love the idea of the Mary Poppins bag.
What's in Nana's purse, right? Because she understands the cloud because it's like her purse. Things go in but never come out.
Yeah, that's funny to me. So yeah, I think you could play around with a bunch of that kind of stuff. But when you're going to Vegas and you know that Jeremy is going to be there, I just play to that. You know, like there's nothing wrong with gaming the system. Like there becomes a point when you're leveling up as a comedian that you have to have this baseline understanding of, yes, I'm talented enough to work in rooms around the country. But then once that's accepted, you as a comedian have to switch modes into becoming the executive vice president of marketing of Scott Lloyd Enterprises, and your widget just like in your day-to-day life when you're
Yep.
selling products. Your widget is the stand-up comedy. And
Yep.
so if that means I have to game the system so I get a better tape, then I do that. If I know I'm catering to a certain crowd, then I'm going to do that. And so part of the mindset when you're performing, especially in contests and festivals, and this usually doesn't happen the first or second time through a cycle of trying this.
Right.
It sort of is the evolution that you get to from trial and error. And Ira went through this a lot. He's like, I just keep changing up what I'm trying to do. I'm like, cater to Joe and I. We love the Planet Fitness joke. Close on that. You know, like, what do we talk to you about after every show? The jokes that we like.
I was surprised he said he's not going to do the new stuff. He's going to go back to the same old stuff. I mean, he made it through every single show last year. Joe, of course, referred to him as the whatchamacallit, the soap opera, you know, never been kissed. He made it through, but never been
the bridesmaid. Yeah. But yeah, for me, when you're at the beginning of the stage of a comedian's career, when it becomes more about hustle and less about proving talent. Right. And part of that hustle thing is utilizing the skills that you've developed in joke writing and set construction to cater to today's audience of one or of three, as opposed to of 150. And that doesn't mean that 100% of what you're doing on stage is geared towards Joe and Jeremy. You still need to make the audience laugh, but it's like, okay, I have this cross section, like you said, you just showed me the printout of your material. I have this cross section of material that I can draw from. I'm comfortable that all of these jokes are going to make audiences laugh, but what am I going to throw in there that's new to these two guys? That's going to, because even if Joe's not on site, he's going to be judging from home on Zippy Vote.
Right.
Like what is going to resonate with these guys? What are jokes that they've talked to me about that they like, or what's new that I think is going to cater towards their sensibilities? Because, you know, Jeremy he's unabashedly and proudly a road dog. He talks about it. He's Jared Dog, the road dog, right? And so he's the kind of guy that skews towards the in-your-face bar show type of, boom, I'm going to hit you over the head with comedy and make you laugh. I'm going to be unrelenting and undeniable. And that's the type of comedy that he really resonates towards.
He's the one who told me last year, I love the props. I love that you bring out your underwear. He said, that's why I'm bringing in the Chunkendale thing, because he likes the props. I mean, I have another joke I haven't even shown anybody. We used to talk about, my mother used to ask me to pick up her Depends, but she asked me to get her boutique Depends. And I'm like, you know what boutique Depends are? And I would put on my back pocket, it's a fucking Depend, but it's got a rose on it. So now it's a fucking boutique Depends. So that's going to make all the difference in the world. And I'd say, oh, sure. So she goes out on a date and it gets frisky. But when she strips down and they see the boutique Depends, who can resist? Then I used to take the Depends out of my back pocket and toss it towards somebody and say, especially when it's full.
With a completely side note, did they rebrand and drop the S from Depends?
Yes, some of them have. Some of the old labels depend because they want it to be dependable. They're marketing it differently to say you can depend on it to keep you dry. But it's true. My mother used to say when I was visiting, could you pick me up a thing? It depends. Which kind? The boutique Depends. I'm like, what the fuck is the difference? And it is. It's the same as it's got a rose on the front of it. That's the difference between a boutique Depends and a regular Depends.
It reminds me a little bit of the back end of someone's life who is relying on hygiene products compared to, I don't know if you ever heard Chad Daniels' joke about when his daughter got her period. And he and his wife were separated at the time. So he just went to the store and he bought one of everything and put it in a closet, and then told his daughter, I didn't know what to get you, so I got you everything. Tell me which one you like, and that'll be the one that's here every time you come over and visit. Right?
That's funny.
So, because I didn't want to embarrass you by calling you and you having to tell me this, but you can show me. and it's a good way for us to have this conversation. That's not going to embarrass either of us. But the joke becomes, you think it's embarrassing to buy feminine products. Try returning 87 at the same time. And so it's like, oh yeah, that's very, very funny.
I mean, if I ever get to a 20 this year, the Boutique Depends are coming out, because I do want to bring that joke out, because I may even try it at McCurdy's, because they've never seen me do it. I do it all the time, but that's in the longest set. But it's again, it's a visual joke, you know. Yeah. I think Jeremy's going to be McCurdy's this year. Yeah, he loves the props. He loves when I bring out props, because he says it's different. Nobody does it. And like I said, this will be the first time they see the Chunkendale joke. I've never done it for the World Series of Comedy, so this will be the first time. And now with the little Santa's Little Helper. As always, my friend, you are a plethora of information. I will probably end up signing up again in April, May when you get back. The good thing is in March, I am just slammed with the World Series of Comedy. I'm in Sacramento, Indy, and Funny Farm, so I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to hosting, you know, and I'm doing what I can to help them. I'll tell you one thing. We may not have got money, but we got a lot of free shit that if Joe does the right thing with, he can sell and make a lot of money on it. Well, I don't know if I told you that when I got a hold of the powers to be, I've written a proposal. It's sitting in the VP's desk. I got on a call with them. I said, you know, because they always send me an invoice to show me what they're giving me. Oh, we gave you $300 worth of this, $500.